Have you heard from a lot of people, like, since, just like random people like slipping into your DMs and just saying like this book has really helped them?
And that's the best. I mean, my publisher, about a month and a half ago when I was in Atlanta, she called me and she said, Mike, a lot of people go in your DMs or whatever. This person wrote a letter. And you just don't see letters anymore. She wrote, she said, I have to call you and I got to share this letter with you. And she just read this letter, and I'm talking about the tears that came down my face that day, because when you see that you have an effect on somebody's life, like I said, it's still painful, man. A lot of things that happened in my life, I shared, and I want to put out things. I want people to get help, man. And I feel like that's strong, and I'm not afraid to cry. And that's another thing about it is I'm a man, I'm a strong man or whatever. And you can't be afraid to show those emotions to help other people, because I went through something in order to be a testament to help somebody else be all that they can possibly be. So when she read that letter to me, it showed me that anything I put in that book, any embarrassing story, any anecdote I put in there, any of my deepest secrets that I put out there, it showed me that it was worth it. I told her, I said, I don't have to sell one copy of this book. I don't have to sell it. But if somebody reads it, they happen to pick it up and it's on the thrift shop somewhere, and somebody can read it and I can get the responses like I got in that letter, that's worth it. All my pain, all my anguish, all those secrets, all those embarrassing moments that I put in that book, I'm talking about, and if you read the book, there's some embarrassing moments I put in that book. It was all worth it, because I know that's why God put me on this earth. So you talk about TED Talks and being a speaker, I'm an advocate for that, because we all go through something. And if you see me as somebody that is in the spotlight, or I'm not a big celebrity, anything like that, but somebody who has a platform, and you think my life is perfect, okay, yeah, the lights are on, makeup and all that type of stuff, everything looks good, but you got to know my background. And I think everybody should figure out what their background is and deal with the pain that comes with that background in order for their future to be a little brighter.
Yeah, absolutely. What did this particular letter say? Like, why was this so?
She just said that, and she was talking about her son, and she was talking about how, a lot of people had given up on him and how he had gone through this and all that, but it made her realize that he needed to have this book in order to make himself grow better. So she gave the son the book, and then it changed his life. It changed his mind. It changed his thought process, because he looked at, somebody that you never know who likes you. You never know who puts you on a pedestal. You never know who kind of looks at you as not necessarily a role model, but somebody who wants to emulate you. And when they see you and they think that, okay, Mike didn't understand my pain, but when they see that you've gone through some of the things that they're going through right now, it makes them feel like they're not alone. And so she was just talking about that and how it helped him, and she was thankful for that and all that type of stuff. And it goes along with people in my DMs and saying how good the book is. And, some people take some of the stories of me cheating and all that type of stuff and trying. I don't care. That's fine. I put that out there myself. Nobody ever found out about any cheating in my past from, the show. It wasn't like this deep dive that they did. It wasn't like one of the housewives came up to me and said, well, I heard you did this. None of that. I put all that out there myself because I wanted to, because I needed to, because I wanted to help other people out. So once again, if it's something that can help other people be the people and the person that they are supposed to be, a great person, make a difference, a positive difference in this world, then so be it. And I'll continue to do that. And I'll continue to share. I shared something on BNC about 2 months ago when it came to me talking. I never had mentioned this before, but I felt like there are still other things that are inside of me that I needed to let go, because we was talking about sexual assault. And I was talking about how I had been, molested when I was younger. I had never shared that before when I was a kid by a family member, and how that may have had an effect on me as well. So these are some of the things that people need to share. And I'm really happy when celebrities use their platform to share those moments.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Well, switching gears, World Mental Health Day was also your 1-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. So what did you guys do to celebrate? You and Miss Cynthia Bailey.
We are so busy and that's a good thing, and I'm thankful for that. that I had to work that Saturday. So I was off. This Sunday was our anniversary, and then I took Monday off, but I had to go right back to work on Tuesday. So we basically stayed in town. We went to this great hotel that's in town in West Hollywood, and we just chilled. We relaxed. We went to dinner. We enjoyed each other's company. But I'll say, because we're also very, very transparent. And one of the things that I like about me and Cynthia's relationship is that we don't pretend to be perfect. We don't pretend not to have issues and problems sometimes. We don't pretend to be like, oh, we're such this great, people say this great power couple and you guys are wonderful. And if we want to be a role model, once again, we got to be open about that. So we're going to tell you, man, yeah, we argue. And I'm going to tell you right now, that Sunday was great. That Monday, I'm like, oh, we might not make it a year or two because it was just something that, things that happened. And that's another thing. I don't go too far into our business to tell you what happened, but it wasn't anything malicious. It was just a misunderstanding. And a lot of times that's communication, but we enjoyed each other and we quickly got over it. And the great thing about Cynthia and I, or any good relationship, is you're going to go through your issues, but you have to ensure that you find somebody that you're willing to fight for when the bad times come, because there will be a lot of trials and tribulations. And so we had a overall good anniversary because we were together, and yeah, we're going to make it a year 2 and beyond. But yeah, it wasn't without a little conflict. I'll just say it that way.
Well, that's like you say, like when you look at people on Instagram and it's like every picture is them just in love and life is wonderful. You're just like, bullshit. Like I call BS. Like this is not, you're not superhuman,
No. And I think that's important because we put out these images and, you're hearing about some of the scrutiny that Facebook and Instagram are getting right now because, the images that they're putting out there, it's leading to depression in a lot of people. And people look at these images and they say, oh, they live such a perfect life. And they look at their own lives and they feel like, well, I got all these flaws. How come I don't look like that when I first wake up in the morning? Wow. Because filters, photos, all that. And I'm not saying that there aren't good times. There are mainly our lives, 90% are good times. But I think it's important to also point out some of the bad times. You don't have to go deep into it. Like I just said, I had an argument with my wife the day after our anniversary. I don't have to tell you what the argument was about, but I need to let people know that we don't live a perfect life and we don't live in a utopia. We have to share that with other people, especially people who have platforms, especially people who are so-called celebrities or whatever, people that other people who, look up to us can look and say, well, wow, if they're going through it, man, I'm not alone. People feel alone in society. And look, as a gay man, years ago, there are a lot of people that you felt alone. You see the transgender world right now. There are a lot of people in the transgender world that feel alone because they don't think that anybody else is feeling their pain because they don't have too many people to talk to because there are other people that still hide it. There are still a lot of gay people who still hide it. There are a lot of people in my community, when it comes to mental health, we hide our issues. So you can't look at your buddy and say, man, I want to talk to you about this, but you wouldn't understand. When your buddy could be going through something just as bad or worse, but because you've been told to suppress that and keep that in, you don't speak on it. So you feel alone. You feel like you got to deal with it alone. You don't feel like anybody's going to be able to understand it. So when it comes to marriage, when it comes to our relationship, you have to admit, and y'all argue, y'all ain't got nothing, but we're still happy. We're still dealing with each other. We still love each other because that's my boo. I'm her boo. We're willing to fight for it. We made this commitment. We put this ring on our finger. It's 360. It's it can't be broken. It's a circle that continues to evolve. And that's what we're going to continue to do until we one day decide we're not happy anymore. And we're going to put it on the table if that ever happens. But pray that it never happens. But we're going to continue to fight for it. So put those images out there as well as all those great images because people need to see those too.
Yeah, totally. Do you think that's the secret to marriage? I mean, now that you've been married for a little over a year, like just being committed and fighting and just being willing to work through the bad times, or like what are some of the other keys do you think to being in a successful marriage?